Hey, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all of the other episodes, check the link in the description, stop by raprankings.com, or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform. And please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting to help us grow the channel and continue our journey as hip-hop's first and premier extreme podcast. Track 8, Get Out of the Car. 9-.
10. Now, I just want to say something. Jesse, you motherfucker. I asked for some clarification style from Mel regarding
how many tens
I've actually given out in the history of the show. So I'd like to just read this to you in full transparency. I believe it's in the best interest of everybody to hear this. So, season 0, the preseason. 0 tens. Not a 10 in sight. Season 1, 3 tens. One Day by UGK, Growing Pains by Ludacris, and I Used to Know Her by DJ Quick. Oh, hey, we're covering next week, DJ Quick. Season 2, 0. Season 3, 0. Season 4, 0. So we went 3 seasons in a row without me having a single 10. Season 5, 110. All About You by Tupac. Season 6, 0. Season 7, 2. Aquemini and Spodioti Dopalicious by Outkast. Season 8, 1. Ain't No Fun by Snoop Dogg. Season 9, 1. Many Men by 50 Cent. Season 10, 1. Roll with the Winners by Clips and the Re-Up Gang. Season 11, 2. The Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. And Still Not a Player by Big Pun. Season 12, 0. His biggest disappointments, it's very unlikely you'd get 10. But Season 13, 4. All on Speakerbox Love Below. Hey, Unhappy, The Way You Move, and Vibrate. And now Season 14, my first 10 of the season, Get Out the Car by Aesop Rock, my 16th 10 in show history. I say that to say this. I don't hand out 10s very often. I don't know, right. Jesse, why every time I give a song a 10, which specifically refers to my personal enjoyment, the meaning that I get from the song, and the enjoyment that I derive from it, why it's always ain't no 10. Because I feel like that portrays me, Moulz, the captain, as a 10-given fool. I'm anything but. I rarely give out 10s.
We both rarely give out 10s because we take
this is my 16th 10 in the history of on the show. Mel was saying he has probably even less than that.
Probably maybe half of that. I didn't do my count. Maybe I'll give it to him if somebody wants it. But yeah, we take that rating seriously. That just like we take a 1 seriously. We don't just hand out 10s. I know, that's the problem with a lot of people are hyperbolic. People aren't actually stopping to think about how they feel.
I
haven't handed out a 1 yet either.
A 2- is the lowest I've ever gone.
I feel like I may have not even handed out a 2. I might have handed out a 3.
You haven't. I think you've given like a 3 or a 3+.
Yeah, which means listen, I'm not just going to tell you I hate something all haphazardly, all flippantly, and be very trivial. Like the fucks from the blog era we were talking about in the Dorks episode. Everything was either goated, the best thing ever, or they dismissed it as trash, So
this is a 10. This is like a song that started at like an 8 or a 9, I would say, but has grown to become a 10 for me. And when it became a 10, it never stopped being a 10. Within I'd say the first year or 2 of this album being out, it was like an 8+, 9-.
Uh-huh.
And then by 2018, this one became damn, this shit is the only other 10 in his catalog other than Gopher Guts for me. Like, he has a song that I could say is maybe tied with Gopher Guts as my favorite Aesop Rock song of all time. One of the most emotional records I have ever heard in any genre. When Post Malone said that shit about, like, if you want to listen to music to feel things and to, like, if you want to cry, you can't listen to rap. And it's like, bullshit. Are you kidding me? This is some of the most gripping, heartfelt writing I've ever experienced, you know? There's no drums on this one. It's all really, you know, just like this, this guitar. You've got synths. Yeah. You've got this bass on there, but it's all pretty upfront in the mix. So it's all being felt. It's not like, you know, like, I think back to, like, the Atmosphere review in season 8, and there's that song Guarantees that's, like, you know, him with, like, the acoustic guitar playing, and that's kind of the whole thing. This doesn't feel like that to me. You know, this still feels like it's produced in some way, even though, you know, there's no programming on here to speak of. The music's really still moving everything forward, and it's so upfront in the mix that it's very present. The mix is very full, despite the fact there's no drums on here. In terms of, like, talking about grief, talking about depression, trying to find a way out of those things, this is deeply felt. It is beautifully written. It's delivered expertly. And, I mean, it's only one verse on here. It's obviously a perfect song alert.
I literally wrote obviously perfect verse alert.
But perfect verse alert. You know, this is a record about his relationship with Camu Tao, who he considered to be, you know, one of his closest friends. And he said on Twitter, the song Get Out of the Car, as he calls it on here, was originally called The Impossible Kid, but I took the name for the album and then renamed the song. That was him on Twitter. He also said, Get Out of the Car. Once again, it's not the name of the song, but I make the same mistake sometimes as well. He says, Get Out of the Car is about realizing a bunch of shit you always considered to be separate may have been more linked than you realized.
Wait, hold on. The name of the song is not Get Out of the Car?
No, it's Get Out the Car, I believe.
I got a name that's Get Out of the Car.
All right, maybe my copy has the wrong title then.
Well, I mean, I don't blame you because he doesn't say the at the end of the song. He just says "Get out the car." Right. So, you know,
I don't know. For some reason,
I remember we'd be too busy crying.
I don't know. Look, whatever it's called, you know? Get out the car. Get out of the car. He also says it's also about missing my brother Camu Tao, and obviously not his brother by birth, but through friendship. And I want to read this. He posted on Instagram about their relationship, and here's the first post I'm going to read. He said, "This is Taro Camu Tao Smith, possibly my favorite person ever. 9 years ago today, I walked out on stage at Soundset to announce his passing to a parking lot full of kids that just wanted to enjoy some music in the sun. I wanted to disappear. I think about this man every day. This whole shit ain't shit without this person. To anyone who followed what my crew was doing in the 2000s, this is the glue. You should all know that. This is the energy of all of it. This is the source for so much of what we were doing in those days. The attitude and aggression and humor and love. This was the inspiration. This was the fountain of ideas and characters and rhymes and jokes and voices that would stop for nothing. He shaped all of us. This man could wrap circles around you and me and all these clowns. His voice was beautiful and loud. and entirely singular, and he could sing. I could hear it now. I love his voice. This man freestyled all fucking day. Like, all fucking day. Like, dude, stop. We would laugh and laugh and laugh until the wee hours, then do it all again the next day. Ride BMX bikes to Cages or barbecue with LP and Keith. You made good salmon. Break to Manhattan to listen to beats at Tony's. Catch up with Shannon and make the rounds. Hit a Baby D show. Fresh sneakers from Gavin Weekly. Not a care. Young and dumb and eager and maybe too stoned. I played him an early version of None Shall Pass in Columbus while he lay dying on his couch. And he would yell shit like, "Those drums are fucking whack. Change that." He was right. The drums were bad for business. None of it is fun without you, Mo. We're just going through the motions out here. I forgot how to laugh. Squeeze your friends. Okay. Love. Peace. So he wrote another post on the anniversary of his passing, and said specifically about this record, "I remember it was hard to write a song about him. Skeleton was when I started thinking about trying, but I knew I wouldn't really be able to approach the subject head on. I ended up making Crows 1 and Crows 2, which are death heavy and certainly inspired by the emotions in the years following Moo's death. I was able to talk about it while abstracting it enough to at least get the words out. I was also able to get in a lighthearted story about him on Racing Stripes. Later, I was able to write something more concise about his passing on Kimya Dawson's Walk Like Thunder, and once again, on Get Out of the Car from The Impossible Kid. I don't know. I'm just talking."
You know, I've been fortunate enough to, I don't believe, have felt a loss this close to me. And not like in a way like I'm ranking the loss, but I mean in the sense that, like, I remember probably the loss that's affected me most deeply in my life was probably my great grandma when I was like, I think 7 or 8 or 9 maybe. And that was like the first person who I knew that was like, I was really adored and was close to. And then, you know, I have to deal with death and figure out what that means to me. But in my adult, like, you know, like the people where it's like, God forbid, because I don't know where I would be without them. I don't know what that looks like, and I don't want to know what that looks like. You know,
unfortunately, I have experienced it, not just, you know, talking about the loss of my mom when I was 6, but also most recently the loss of my grandfather. And in between all of that, I have lost friends. I've lost my friend Buran, originally from Turkey, but obviously he was living in the U.S. And he passed away because he was given. Oh, I don't want to get into the details of it, but he was done a disservice at the end of his life. My friend Willie passed away, also drug-related. My friend Everett, who is Shah and Ralik's cousin, passed away from cancer 2008, I believe. And I associate him with this song, you know, because this is a song about losing a friend.
Yeah.
And out of all my friends who passed, Everett was probably the closest of my friends who are no longer with us, and the circumstances of witnessing him succumb to his illness. And again, I don't want to just put everyone's shit out there, but I not only relate to this song on that level, but just the, I guess, musings on feeling detached and depressed, and the emotions that are brought up in this verse, I unfortunately relate to, but I find that this song is kind of like a salve. Like, as much as the song might literally break me down and make me start bawling, I've always looked at the song as like a hopeful song, ultimately, that inspires me, at least, to persevere through those kind of feelings.
This is kind
Although
of what I was,
you're taking like a very harsh approach to it, like it's a very realistic approach to self-actualization, I guess.
probably like well, I like just taking ownership over your feelings and your state,
right?
And just self-awareness,
but perseverance,
accountability,
sure,
like what was I gonna say? This I feel the same in the sense that this is a sort of hopeful record, and I unfortunately relate to it heavily. You said this is a song that it like started as like an 8 or 9 and it went up to a 10 and never left. This is one this week where I kind of had to reacquaint myself with why it was what it. So in 2016, I was, I remember being moved to tears on like, initial listen. It was like a 9. And then I made, I don't want to say the mistake, but like the decision to add this to like a playlist that I have, a running playlist. It's just called Blue. And it's, basically emo male classics, things that I feel like songs that understand the human condition and how messy and gray things can get being a human being. But the thing with a playlist is you might hear a song more than perhaps you need to, if that makes sense. And playlisting things, it's like you kind of become desensitized in a way. So like the song, it kind of dropped to an 8+ to where, I wasn't crying every time, So I kind of had to remove myself from that mindset of having heard the song so much. It's like I was telling you briefly on the phone earlier, it's not a song that you should be listening to as much as I was, but it was a part of like a collection of music that I would throw on when in certain moods, or when not even so much sad, but just not in the mood to hear anything upbeat or cheery or energetic or even, so, I have a show to do, Rap Ranking. So it's like, all right, I got to get into this record and really get to the core of why I feel.
Now, when you were telling me about that, I was like, I really need to make sure that this is a 10. You had me like a little, concerned. Like, am I tripping? Am I just like, is this like Yesterday by Atmosphere, where it started as a 10 and then I had to come back like 2 weeks later and say, no, it's actually like a 9. I don't like the production that much or whatever. That's not an issue here. I have no complaints about the production whatsoever. It I think contributes to the emotion of the record. Bro, I gotta tell you, like, when he gets into that, just the opening bars, honestly, been a bit since Moo died, been a lot more lost in the wake, is just like a heavy opener. But when he gets into Nah, I mean, when you wake up 8 years non-responsive, it's a lot to process. Just when he said that, and I started crying again. I'm like, yep, this is one of those songs where, like, if I'm listening to it in the proper context, which to me is in the context of this album, starting this album from the beginning, by the time you get to this song, especially the fact that it's coming off of an emotional record to begin with, in Blood Sandwich, man, this is an emotional wallop every single time within the context of this album. I can't tell, this isn't a song that I playlist for, like, listening for enjoyment's sake, but I'm just bowled over by it, like, every time I listen to this album. It's just so affecting.
In the context of this album, I actually feel like this is the result of, say, retreating to this barn, and now you have this quiet to sort of sit with yourself, and these things start to arise, and you start to address them for the first time.
Glad you said that, because when I moved back to Long Island from, like, 2012 to 2014, I'm, like, living by myself for the first time, no roommates.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, the freedom of that is going to be great, right? Like, I set the tone. No one's around to bother me. It's my own place. And I got to tell you, like, it only took a couple days for me to start becoming a real prisoner of my fucking mind.
That cabin fever is a real
We were
thing.
talking in season 11 on that Kevin Gates. I feel like this wall's talking to me. I feel like this wall's talking to me. I'm a prisoner of my own mind. Okay? That's how I was feeling.
Prisoner in my own mind. Yeah. Look, it's funny you say that, because I've said probably to you even plenty of times, it's like I can't wait to finally live on my own, to have that space and set the tone and everything. I think I'll be fine though, because it's something I've wanted for so long, and I've experienced in small slivers to where I think I know to expect that sort of cabin fever and how to avoid it. Because the first time I ever really got that was in 2015, when, like, my dad and my stepmom, they went out of town for something, and, like, they left the house to me for like 2.5 months, something like that. And I'm like, this is gonna be great.
Figured it out, because I was not about to let myself go crazy.
Right.
I made it a point to, if I'm not going to see friends in person, which I would try to do, I'm at least, like, on the phone talking to them. Like, you have to still find a way to interact with people socially, even if it's like, I'm going to go to Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, I'm going to go outside. I started going to Walmart just to, like...
You have to expose yourself to the elements to make sure that you don't go crazy, and just try to do a better job of staying on top of, talking to your friends and family, making sure you're not completely isolated in every sense. Like, you're not talking to anyone, you're not seeing anyone. You go, like, 3 or 4 days of that, like, no phone call style, no interacting with, like, people in the public, and you're just in the house, your mind is you're in solitary confinement, basically. Your mind's gonna go into very dark places.
I didn't know the effect of that until that year when it happened, because usually when my dad was home, or when I was at my grandparents' house or wherever, I'm interacting with people, but also, we're going out, we're going places. It wasn't until then where I realized, I've been in the house like 4 days straight. Like, I haven't left, like, for anything. And you start to cave in on yourself. Like,
yes.
And I'm already a person who does a lot of ruminating and thinking, and just, I'm always in my mind to begin with. But to be in your mind and not go anywhere, it does something. Brutal. You start, and luckily I'm self-aware enough to catch myself, because I found myself getting, like, really paranoid and, like, testy with, like, my friends, or, like, and I was like, I'm tripping. Like, I caught myself like, this is happening because, like, I don't have anyone to, like, bounce off of other than myself, and I'm starting to, like, delude myself in different ways.
Right.
And I was able to bring myself back.
In this verse, we mentioned it earlier, the Midas line, but he says, He said, "Oh, Shazbot, not the ever after he wanted from the once upon a time ... Once upon a time, he was so much more than a punchline for his own pot shots. Watch the Impossible Kid. Everything that he touched turned promptly to shit. If I zoom on out, I could finally admit it's all been a blur since Moo got sick. None of the subsequent years stood a chance. Whether you was mom's or his man's, whether you was pops or his girl, I was poisoned. Heart full of canines, head full of voices. Whole life trying to quiet him down like a suicide king with a knife in his crown. Hounds at bay, but they just won't stay. True friendship in a tugboat way." That's it's a lot to take in. Man. This whole verse is really a lot to take in. The "knowing ain't half the battle," that's a bullshit quote written by some asshole.
Bro, I love that line because most of my life I never understood, or rather never respected, the phrase "ignorance is bliss" until one day I had the realization. I'm like, you know what? A lot of the pain that I feel is all come from knowledge. Knowledge of different
bullshit
things.
Quip. Rather, he says, "Knowing ain't half the battle." That's a bullshit quip written by some asshole.
The more you know, the more you suffer.
And then he says, "You can own what you are and still sit around stoned in your car and not doing shit, halfway to nil, cranky and waiting for a boss key and hat full of bills. Get out the car, Ace." And that "get out the car" is that reminder to me. And that, honestly, the thing that makes it like a hopeful record or a motivational one, it's like, get out of this funk, crawl out of this hole that you're in.
Do something. And I mean, like, I agree with him in the sense that, like, yeah, knowing ain't half the battle, because I'm a very self-aware person. And after so many years, it was like around, I don't know, it must have been somewhere between 18 and like 21, where I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's not enough. Like, okay, I'm self-aware. What now? Yeah, I know what my issues are. What now? Like, I think about myself relentlessly and what I am and who I am in relation to this, that, and the other, but it hasn't gotten me anywhere. So what are you going to do now? You can own what you are and still sit around stoned in your car, not doing shit, halfway to nil. Yeah. And it's kind of the curse of knowing yourself too, is like, because you're really fucked up when you have self-actualized and it still hasn't amounted to anything.
Exactly, because then it's not hell, it's purgatory.
Yes, it's that stasis, and that's where it ties back to the line earlier when he says, when you wake up 8 years non-responsive, it's a lot to process. Right now, that line hit me different this week because I spent the last 7 years in Peoria feeling stuck and in stasis, unintentionally, mind you. I wasn't supposed to be there that long. And it feels like moving back here, it's like I kind of woke up a bit out of this new environment. And it's like, it is a lot to process. How did this happen? What did that all mean, if anything? Because, of course, it's the fear that, like, hey, it's just one of those moments in life where you got to go through a bunch of shit. And ultimately, it doesn't mean much of anything unless you make it mean something. If you don't try, then yeah, you just got fucked for no reason, And this is a song where it had dropped back, and then this week it's like, no, I do love this record. And I had to remind myself why, and not just let it wash over me as it had been over the past 6 years, like as a song on a playlist that I would occasionally feel more days than other days.
From a situation that made you feel despondent, maybe the record has kind of regained some meaning for you.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, even before this song existed, like when I first heard the song, I was reflecting on, you could say 2015 to 2014 to 2016, or even 93 to 2016. It's from the very beginning when he says, talking about his friend dying and being a lot more loss, there having been a lot more loss in the wake of that. He says, I recall thinking someday someone's going to say it's all from the same cause and effect, and I just couldn't fathom, blaming a whole new page on a made-up chain reaction. This idea of not wanting to accept that was the thing making him feel that way, I can relate. because there are certain traumatic events in my life that I'm certain weren't that traumatic, or rather weren't as impactful as you would believe, or as a person would believe. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been to therapy. I've mulled over these things a few times. I mean, there's a lot in my life where I could easily be like, oh yeah, that probably had a profound impact on how I view the world and how I process my emotions. But, I've been like, nah, it wasn't that. It was more so this. But, it could be a therapist or maybe a reevaluation of my own thought where it was like, this actually was more than you thought it was. Like I had this realization in the past year. It was like something that happened to me in 5th grade that I didn't I thought about it my entire life. And then suddenly, at the age of like 29, I'm like, oh, you know what? That's why I respond this way to like, feeling like someone is like lording over me, or like I'm powerless in a situation when someone is like, like, it's not to get into it, but like what he's basically saying, someone's going to say it's because of your friend dying. And it's like, I can't fathom
him saying also on Twitter, it's about realizing a bunch of shit you always considered to be separate may have been more linked than you realized.
Right. Each claim individual peaks and pockets, pains, and a slew of unique nuances. Nah, I mean, it's like, yeah, you don't, you want to think everything. But like, listen, it's all interconnected at the end of the day. And I break down at different parts in this verse, but like listeners, longtime listeners know the persona of Emo Mel. I claim it openly. Mm-hmm. Gone from a happier Jack in the Box to a package of clogged up chakras. Oh, Shazbot, not the ever after he wanted from the once upon a time ... Once upon a time, he was so much more than a punchline for his own pot shots. Listen, people,
man,
I wasn't born Emo Mel. In fact, there are tons of home videos and pictures and what have you.
Watch This Is Melvin. You witness the birth of Emo Mel.
Yeah, the things that did it and kind of that trend. I was a very happy and hopeful and passionate and bright-eyed kid. And before I knew it, it went away. Like, and I know that the events and like, I know when the transition happened, but I was still blindsided by it. And before I knew it, I was in the throes of it and couldn't get out. Like, I recall freshman year of high school, finally asking myself, it's like, wait, am I depressed? Like that word, like that clinical word, like, is that what I am? Like, and I don't want to get into my life, but it's like,
I was saying in the Outcast speaker box review when we did Unhappy, a 10, that was a song where I was starting to like also come to the realization that like there's something deeply wrong with my mood. And I didn't know what was going on. And again, like, could depression be something that I was destined to have because my mom died years earlier, but like that PTSD and that, the ill effects of that happening to me would really most show themselves a few years later? These are things that you ask yourself when you're like, well, I was a happy kid. What happened?
Oh my God, man. Oh my God. All right. See, because I'm trying to not turn this into a therapy session, but yes. Yeah. What happened?
Why? That's what this album is.
It is, isn't it? And the thing is, I know what happened. And some days I replay it and I feel an intense feeling of fury and bitterness. Sometimes it's sadness. It's rarely hope these days, because the whole idea was, by now I would have turned things around and made those trows in my life lead to peaks. Like, it would have come full circle, and it's like I can look back on these things and be like, well, that was a dark time, but I found my way out of it. And unfortunately, that hasn't happened yet, and that could make you start to really stay in the car, so to speak, you know? And I mean, just even that metaphor, I spent a lot, and I mean a lot of time in parking lots in the past 7 years. And, you know, it's, doing delivery driving, but not just that. It's just like waking up in the middle of the night and not wanting to be trapped in that room and just getting in the car and driving to the Walmart parking lot or the Schnucks parking lot or a parking lot in East Peoria and just sitting there and just to get out of the house, but also not having anywhere to go and just being there. And that parking lot began to represent being frozen in this point and just not being able to get out. And even a parking lot in itself, you're parked.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere. And I mean, listening to songs like this and just replaying many scenes in my life and just feeling like I can't get out of the car. No matter how much I'm trying to, like, all right, I'm gonna get emotional. So I'm gonna just, folks, 8 years been one long blindside. Okay. And it's like I could pinpoint 7 more turns that occurred because he never really healed from the first. That accumulation of traumas when you're just trying desperately to unravel these things while other things are being piled on top, and you realize I can't. Like, you know, oh, what a world. You know, a phrase I often say to myself and just private, just talking to myself, what a life. Like, I say that probably a few times a week. Oh, what a world. Any hack is a myth. Any dap is a joke. Any map is a trick. This is how you start to view the world. You just become hopeless. And that's why I love this song, because he gets to the root of that gray and that muddiness and just that quicksand of life where you're just drowning, man. And you can't let that happen to yourself. If you're lucky enough to still have that voice inside, as faint as it becomes, to just be like, get out of the car.
Yep.
And I'm see now.
We got okay. Archival audio, probably the most for any track on here. Man. There's one in the folder we're not going to play, but we're going to play everything else.
Okay.
And we're going to dive into Aesop's collaborations with Camu Tao, because I feel like what better record to dive into that than this one is very much a tribute record to him.
Yeah.
It's dealing with a lot of other things and the after effects of all of it, but ultimately I feel like it's a beautiful tribute to him. So, let's check out as chronologically as I think I was able to piece things together, and then we kind of have a little bonus track with a explanation from Aesop as well. We're going to start with Weathermen. This is definitely, I think all the stuff we're playing is like Def Jux era. This is Reports of a Possible Kidnapping, featuring Aesop Rock, LP, Cage, and Camu Tao.
All right, this is it. Here it is.
That shit's a serious thing, man. You know why? Because we're fucking stars. We don't believe it yet. The money's not star status. But guess what? In our brains, and sometimes we're in a room by ourselves, we can fucking have our emotions, man. We let our emotions run fucking wild. Fucking cocksuckers! Canaries in the coal mine drop. Knock, knock, squash, bovine, fine God. Came to play the dozens with survivors of the autoclaves. Fungus that clung as the shiny hypodermics alternate. Swarm out through the AC in the upper space. Spores like coyotes descending over your rows of golden corn. There's more. Every Mary's little lamb is one of 3 absorbed. My friend, you were the pecking orders whore. Roger Dodger, camp at a squalor contra. The single cellar scissors walking a 2 dogs a yama on a choke. Scattered bacteria. This is more than Darwin with a tooks in the books of the magisterium. Wore the blackest suit and pull up on the blackest chariot. Everyone's a virgin at the Kraken cafeteria. Jovial Moulz Mel, Zodiac rosary of goats. You could be the next microbial host. Silver or dust of where the novas explode. Pale pink moon waxing. Purple hearts, marigold taxis. Dubious credentials on the gypsy flipping vaccines. Snake oils, tonics, the pathogens of adapting. Made of brain fog, strange days, palm base cards, make it rain frogs. Fish eye on a cradle in a major murdered outfit that's still shifting. Jowls on the bounty on the Uzu. Let the cozy overbody clue you. I need to get a message back home, home. You ever feel weak, tweak, fleeting, peak piss bleeding, each clip wing twitch easy, sequence scenery, nuzzle of the beat buried deeply, bleak pitch scream uneasy, peachy, fleet move breezy, creep uncleanly, cadence diseasy, strange arranged speaking, makers of the queasy, all detached reasoning, here to match your fuck face fiendishly, weatherman, born batch lunacy, in fact rational truancy, half-lasted truthy facts goonishly, cast back in a sad sap surrendering, extraordinary rendering, remember me, lurching, gnawed, harsh, snarling, bar from department of redundancy department, sign here, even obscene, iridescently froze, pros reside here, a mean streak, elite breed, design fear, nobody move, nothing and nothing will get invasive, I came from the lost, excavated, breathe exhaust cloud, favorite, creators of that this is not my day shit, grace on a day shift, without a trace, lost on debating it, the tug job, erase a claw pin kit, now with more bang by the facelift, I used to give a hangnail, fuck about patience, now it's just to see money taken, funny how morality is changing, evolving, dissolving, disgrace is a mainstay, tragedy keeps calling, everyone that mattered to me somehow keeps falling, hooded creature knocking on the door, I'm just stalling, I need to get a message back home, home, home. Weapons made, werewolf movies, wait maybe, what am I, white man out, wait make me, watch and mock you, sit and witness magic, a symbol like Washington Monument, a wondrous monotheistic compliment, a milestone for variety, this transmission's picked up on an ear on the same face that's got an eye on me, two arms in the head, imagine we form with legs, sword a tail, one sheep to scorch the lens, bitter death awaits the taste of blood of good, innocent people, welcome to my brotherhood, we're biodegradable, widely relatable, though the soulless can't walk, their heads are highly inflatable, eternity unattainable, rejected, burnt, out of the ground, into the sky, out of the sky, into the dirt, when everything you learned or admired, disconnected, bring some wire, traverse the moat to combust your kingdom's fire, speaking, blinking, sinking, deep and distant, tongues hanging out like a dog from speaking different, you can take the mark of the beast and take the mark of beast, gathering all our dead masters, start the feast, why are we still hungry, insatiable, useless codes, or folding a pistol on a sheep in wolf's clothes, animal farming, nothing's alarming, sewage turned to drinking water, calming, the calm before the bombing, something to anticipate, death cool, we'll sit and wait, black clouds lingering, singe skin and dissipate, bite me on the wrist, I'll still extend a hand, man, as a spill of the world, until Earth's at its fill of man.
All right. What, you know, it's not time for that. I think I first heard of Weatherman through a daggone, well, at the time he was Milo, but Rap Ferrer, I think, rapped a bar about them.
You know, that's that Def Jux era, you know?
Right. All right, what else we got?
We got Blockhead, who is a frequent collaborator of Aesop Rock. He produced a good chunk of his catalog, especially the majority of the earlier stuff in his catalog. This is Blockhead Jet Sun, featuring Aesop Rock and Camu Tao.
All right. Here.
Sickly arthritic, cane walker, mosey for the nosy neighbors, senior citizen up in my business. Post up daily out the building, hawking visible civilians to monitor the city grills of civilians. Black card, wrong-footed, bedazzled, I caress my artificial fatigues. Camoed initial handshake, I shook a shaky frail knuckle bunch. Old stickler still sucker punch the 808. He says it shakes the brains and plates, it won't happen again, sir. Limp back to your basement, ran, I'm snarling like a bobcat. Little man died up by 79 years of combat and folded to bottom beater by the fuck that sits and critiques my take out the trash procedures. Steeper, iron turn blue dawn to dusk for months. So every time I exit the shelter, the two confront. And awkward salutations turn what up, turn how are you feeling, turn let's sit and talk war over tobacco and tea leaves. Old man rivers, poker face, seem thick red, whatever the soldier days before the bones decayed alone in Brooklyn. His throne has made him old mistakes, and home replaced the golden age of worker man leg work over joker pink clones and hoodlums. I'll shape the shittiest, they've escaping the lineage, but goddamn it if I'm a match, his story and deliverance and mystery is still apparent. Sometimes he quiet when he watch, Moo call him eyes on the block.
Now these are eyes for a friend of mine. He can drop through with the bubble of dime. You thought you were the palm of your grind. Put you on, put you out, put your life back in line. Oh, 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 yeah, 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 yeah.
Now when the phone rang, I was home hanging out high, so the shaky voice of panic was magnified through the line. Eyes on the block, throw box, spoke timid. Ian, please come down, I need assistance. Flew out like, what the fuck, man, this cat's about to dial me. Jimmy the latch and found a trembling mess of fresh anxiety like, all I need's a conversation, calm me down, give me the pill. Chills, finger the 9 on my celly, ready for kills. He's scared and lonely, I blank a bit, then come back on some how about them Yankee shit. How about this rain we get? 60 minutes later, money slowly finds a calm, and caught me staring at the yellowed photos on the wall. Said, this is my daughter, and this one is my grandson, and this one is my great-grandson, Maxie, isn't he handsome? Then broke into his life story of war, glory, and BK, and how the hood has changed since he was knee-high to a DJ. Strange days, I sorta nodded in agreement, but knew it would take me years to know what he meant. If somebody 3 times your age tells you the day's so strange, it makes your petty evolution clump up with a chump change. Bug, never to be shrugged up again. The bother's now settled as an honor to shake his hand, and never to be underestimated where he's sit, cause the eyes on the block seen some shit.
Now these are eyes for a friend of mine. He can drop through with the bubble of dime. You thought you were the palm of your grind. Put you on, put you out, put your life back in line. Oh, 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 yeah, 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 yeah.
So that's him singing there.
Okay, I was right.
Camu.
Okay.
And he had been working on an album prior to his death called King of Hearts.
Okay.
And it ended up getting released, I believe, in 2010, 2 years after he passed. And in a way, it's almost like his 808s. You know, it's a very interesting album. So if you guys are unfamiliar, I would recommend actually going to check that album out. As, you know, it's technically a posthumous album, but he had completed it prior to his passing.
Okay.
And I think it's an interesting kind of snapshot into, you know, a guy who was, I think, talented in a lot of different ways and really just starting to show off all of those different ways. The next record is from Fast Cars, Danger, Fire, and Knives, the project that got me into this guy. This is Aesop Rock, Rickety Rackety, featuring LP and Camu Tao.
And you know what up, Wiz? Yeah. Wait, who are these motherfuckers with me, though? Dog, I don't even know these cats, man.
And smack dab in the middle of the cuddles and kills. Gorilla Jimmy City limits with a bucket of pills. Hollering, no, I don't immediately ameliorate. I'm meet him, breed him, read him, and rate him. See if I hate him.
Hard rock, bump through the speaker top. Tweet and read a blue cone, deaf homes in. A pack of lunchbox, walk to the stone. Jump into the chemical soul in my zone. I'm irrational, paranoid, tragic. And a button on my chest says panic. Punch it, hold up, don't touch me. I'm a savage from a rabbit ass country.
You wanna get it, you all acquitted, you need to quit it. Getting evicted, you little idiot, pitch a ticket. It's so the tricky the way you wanna go get your digits. Body you up at the party, somebody get his miss
black lung and a purple heart. Then you kick back once the inertia start. And when the shipwreck sunk through the perfect dark, a serpent's arch alerts every circle sharks. The bloody salt water sounds the hors d'oeuvre alarm. And when the first alarm's found, we observe the art. Like a bellyacre won't kick face to the curb, rather kick when the face already raped by the worms.
Tasmanian pain code. Very little to say to these politicians behind it, but this, you better loosen the noose or lose living. Cause little kids walking the app quick to produce a
Well, you
biscuit.
should medicate any area that the pain is. And when you're in the street, you should peep the sets of strangers. Actors that are in fact the cast of chaos. They be looking for any situation they can play on. Respectively injecting these thoughts detain us. Negative speaking, they be creeping to entertain us. When you out of doubt, they run to a route they'll save you. In retrospect, infecting pests in your papers.
I design kill pain kid penmanship. Federal analog hard unedited. With a CUNY degree in young numbness. Angels on the rooftop. How do they
I was
trumpets?
buried to the neck in the all-star bloopers. Periscope down, hot boss for cruiser. Porcelain computer authority will be overruled. The second Chucky Uber Alice News hit the sewers.
Riggedy raggedy, this city fit my style exactly. With the backspin and the fat laces, gazelle glasses, chase rap daily.
Rickety rackety.
Rickety rackety.
Rickety rackety. This city fit my style exactly. Near the train tracks, in the garbage bags, with the cement cracks. We a part of that.
Riggedy raggedy.
Rickety rackety.
When you take two to the vein and it's two to the brain, you don't get used to the pain. Maniac bruising the cage. When guess what, you in the public, you be like, do it again. He's a motherfucking blood sucker, he can do what he can.
On the side of the block, through the bus stop. You paying a fare, that's a trust fund. Little ugly ass stuck like some fun fuck. To batter the rush, I walk punch drunk. In a whole world of doors now. Before the steppers a goose kick your door down. I'm in a getaway whip with Ace Grizzly. You got the same shit stitched in his missile.
Okay, left field. Stealth, dressed to kill. Self, megawatt with a horizontal neck spin. Swim funny to vertical bobblehead, yes man.
When the evil falls in, it drops the pole and off to the core. It's better than that you represented the percentage. It was a vintage and the call haters. You wanna made it, we bought the flavors, niggas, you wanna hate us.
Anyone from antagonist squad to family tissue can testify that the look in my eyes is a genuine issue. I'm a freak in the pleasure, penetrate lust. Spin the vaginal juices like others of an onion.
Don't pick at the misfit or Nancy LaForce. No picnic, misled horse advancing. No business, insist bored with candy. Pure citizen X with that all fours dancing. Corporals landing ashore, all sore bone knit with rickety rackety porn fancy. We through the hell and high water hot zone. Deceased in a minute, the idiot got home.
Now I'm teaching first grade and I wanna participate. I wanna grade the papers, but I don't wanna give them A's. FDF minus test time, set time. Call every parent and give them a piece of my mind. Cause I don't wanna give a good future, I'll shoot ya. With doozies, so we're rulers. Okay, fuck minus flush mine. Even leaving them bruised up. Stack kids, pack you lunches in the cooler.
Rickety rackety, this city fit my style exactly. Near the fire ladder, where the wires gather. Drink water, eat fish, smile after.
Riggedy raggedy.
Rickety rackety.
Riggedy raggedy. This pussy fit my dick exactly. With a threesome, giving treatment. Sex on drugs, girl can't keep up.
Rickety rackety.
Rickety rackety.
Now, there's one more I want to play. This is something that came with explanation, though, from Aesop, so I'm going to read it. He said, one night, me and Camu made a whole album on GarageBand called Couch Boys. We made all the tracks on the spot, sitting on the couch, and freestyled everything, making the rule, quote, you must keep your first take, which made the outcome even more horrifying. Essentially just a night of uber nonsense from some pals. I uploaded the track, Couch Boys, from this session. The quality is poor, but it is what it is. Really makes me remember an awesome time in my life. Camu Tao was my best friend.
Wow.
So here's Couch Boys by Couch Boys.
This is my kind of shit. All right, here we go.
One take wonders.
Take one.
Motherfucking undies.
You better not.
How many motherfuckers coming in the crib on my crotch?
Hold up,
You.
Okay.
Smoke this weed. Okay, play.
Booyah.
I'm about to take you to the top,
You know what I'm
nigga.
saying?
That's what's up. Hold up, for these boys.
So serious. Drop this shit.
Hold
Drop
up.
this shit. Okay.
Motherfuckers think they tight, but you think you sick. You should come on my crib and suck my dick. You think you motherfuckers got weed we smoke, but your weed ain't good enough when we choke. We got sick and we threw up in our fucking bathroom. We acting like you got a motherfucking ass. Cool. You tryna come into the crib, your ass, you a fool. You fooling yourself. You ain't really cool. Use a motherfucking word twice before. I use motherfucker every time I rhyme. Good luck. Hold up. You got a new nigga coming with cash. You got a new nigga coming in with a new ass. You say, ass, let me feel it. Make me feel it. Make me steal it. Make me so appealing. Motherfuckers come and make a killing. You got weed back. Now we're stealing.
Now we're stealing. Now we're doing whatever we're feeling, cause that's the real thing. If it's motherfucking AC was in the place, he told Camu to hook up the 808 bass. Now, we all up in the spot, smoking weed every day, plus we tug them Glocks. If we hug them blocks, we be selling the drugs, motherfuckers really tend to not give a fuck. A thug need a hug. Is that really wrong? Because I'm feeling kinda buzzed. A grown ass man who's feeling kinda fucked up. Like life, he lucked up. Took a lot of money to get out of the bag. Scratched it off the motherfucker one. Damn. They went to cash the shit in at the bank. They said, you a motherfucker, no thanks. Don't act a fool when you in it. Motherfuckers come in the club, they got lyrics. On the drop, I said, come and spit it. No, cause the shit got rid of it. Get rid of it. I'm not sick of it. I'm kinda sick of it. I'm more sick of wit. I'm sick of these chicks. Baby, all of my friends trying to hug the dick.
Couch boys, 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 couch boys.
Hold up. Let me get this shit right. Okay. I'm in the spot. You got the Glock. Motherfucker, come over and act a fool. We on the block. We sell the rock. Now you motherfuckers really need to go back to school. You don't rule. You don't do anything. I do everything. I'm on every bling. I got diamonds and jewels around my neck. I got diamonds and jewels that are around my wrist for respect. Four finger rings, that's the way. We got the highlights that come in that I'm play. We the motherfuckers on the block that don't care because spicy comes down with a snare.
Couch boys, 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 couch boys.
Hold up.
Now motherfuckers wanna hear about the name. The niggas always talking shit, but they ain't got no game. They ain't got no house, they ain't got no car. These motherfuckers is all fucked up, they up in the stars. And they going to jail, they should be going to hell. They should be coming on back, they should be saying, oh well, we lost. Motherfuckers wanna come and get off, and we bought everything that we can get our hands on, and we on. When we come into the motherfucking spot, you niggas wanna call and come the cops, and niggas talking shit. Roll up box. Hold up, they roll up, and they roll up in the box. They roll inside the box. Hold up for these niggas, hold up for these bitches. Hold up for these motherfuckers got them itches. We got them stitches, and we give them stitches. And we give them motherfuckers everything to these niggas, and we get them riches. Couch boys, 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 couch boys. Okay, turn this motherfucker down, turn this motherfucker down, say burn this, motherfucking down, say burn this, motherfucking down, say burn this, motherfucker down, burn this, burn it to the ground, say burn this, burn it to the ground, say couch boys, couch boys, couch boys, couch boys.
Another class.
Something light to end on, something fun.
Folks, if you don't rap, it's one of the joys of rapping. It's just rapping with your friends. Like it is. It definitely is. I guess I only have two more things to say. One is that just to tie back to what I was saying up top. I think after the first major loss in my life, every subsequent loss, I get the sense that I'm not allowing myself to feel the full brunt of it. And I fear that one day someone's going to pass and it's going to be devastating for me in a way I've never experienced in my life, because I think I've compartmentalized every loss since, you know, because I've lost my grandma, I've lost pets, but like, and I talked with my mom about this one time because one of her friends who I knew, rest in peace to TT Lowe, we were at the hospital when she was sick. And she was not in a good way. And we like left the room and we were just talking outside the room, my mom and I, about like loss. And I was telling her, you know, I've never, after, you know, Big Granny died, I never was able to allow myself to feel that again. I think for my own protection, I wasn't letting myself really process death the same way, you know? And so this song always gets me because it's like, you know, it feels like, yeah, you know, someday someone's going to say, you know, like, and I feel like I'm definitely trying to keep myself from that. But yeah, obviously that's futile. So that's the one thing. And two, less weighty is the music here kind of reminds me of the guitars in Pete and Pete, in a sort of like in a more emo version. It's like, instead of like Hey Sandy, it's like you fell out of contact with Sandy from Hey Sandy, so these guitars are a little sadder. Yeah, instead of do do do, it's, you know, do do do, you know. But anyway, I'm moved by the record. I'm sure that's obvious, folks. So
yeah, a perfect record to me.
I don't blame you a single bit. So, would you like to move on? Because I don't necessarily want to keep thinking about how I'm the suicidal king.
Well, I was saying I was dreading reviewing this one, but, you know, I knew we had to do it. So, yeah. All things considered, I think we kept it together. We might have bummed people out, maybe made them think about things that they don't feel like thinking about while listening to a rap podcast, but it is what it is, you know.
Well, it is what it is, but also go stuff it, Post Malone, because number one,
and you ain't black.
Or number two, Aesop Rock ain't black either, but he understands that rap music can do a lot of things. It can take you a lot of places, okay, as evidenced by this song review. All right. So if we took somebody somewhere that they didn't intend to go through this review or through hearing this song for the first time, I'm sorry. But hey, it's beautiful that rap can even express such emotions. So here you go. All right. Would you like to move? I know I would like to move on.
We have to move on. It's time to move on.
Okay, let's get out the car.
Hey, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all of the other episodes, check the link in the description, stop by raprankings.com, or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform. And please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting to help us grow the channel and continue our journey as hip-hop's first and premier extreme podcast.